Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you guys?
Doing good. Thank you for taking the time.
No problem. My pleasure. I understand you guys want a some kind of a feedback on what we're doing with the Parramore project.
Yes, a summary if you can.
So I'll give you a summary. I think you guys got the email that we got from CSX regarding the draft agreement for
Yes.
that property that we're trying to acquire from the city.
Yes.
Apparently, they just started doing or working on the agreement back in September 5th or so. So we don't have anything from them yet. I will double check and see if they have a draft so we can at least understand exactly what's going on and when we're going to get to be able to get to with the city and then talk about vacating that property. Um, so basically, at this point, we are at a standstill in a way. I will contact the city today to find out whether they have a draft agreement that they can discuss with us. If they do have a draft agreement, then I think we can initiate the process to move forward. Before that draft agreement, I don't think we can do much because the city is not willing to discuss anything with us until they have an idea when and what they're going to be acquiring from CSX. Based on our understanding on the previous meetings, they will be getting all the property on Hicks Avenue, which includes the additional property that we're trying to vacate so we can add it to our project. That property is about 0.14 acres. Um, and that property is important because it will allow us to have access through Hicks Street, as Hicks Avenue, sorry, as opposed to Willis, which is a non-conforming 20-foot right of way that.
Montez, are you able to put the map on the screen so we can actually follow which lot
Sure.
is ours and which one is Higgs?
Let me share my screen. Okay, screen three, share. Okay. Let me know once you are able to see the screen.
Okay.
Uh,
Yes, we can see it. For me, it's a little zoomed out, but I still can see it. I think it's because I'm on my phone.
it's kind of weird. It doesn't show me that I'm sharing anything at this point.
We can see it.
You can
I
Yeah,
see
can
it?
no,
see it.
to me, it shows fine. I can see it perfectly.
Okay, good. So this is our property. I don't know if you can see my pointer, my mouse.
Yes, we can see it.
That's our property. This additional property here that belongs to CSX, that's the one we're talking about. The CSX agreement is going to entail conveying all the property on Hicks Street to the city, which includes that small portion that fronts the Hicks Street and our property. If we can get that property here, and I don't think I could draw on my screen, but because it does not
No,
show
but
me.
we can see it.
Okay.
It's should be good.
Oh, I did something. Didn't I? Okay. Um, so that property here, if we can get that, there is a driveway that connects to Hicks Street right now. That driveway
Mhm.
is wide enough to allow us to be able to use it as our access point. If we are able to get that property, then our main access would be through Hicks Street. We still might get an additional access on Parramore, but not through Willis because Willis is, if we're going to touch Willis, the city wants us to upgrade that to a full city compliant right of way, which means that we have to convey additional property about 20 feet from our property to make that into a like the minimum acceptable right of way for the city, which is 40 feet. Right now, it's about 20 feet. So for us to avoid that, which is going to be costly and also is going to take away from our property, then this would be crucial that we can get this from the city to avoid that. In addition, if we actually get access through Willis, we might be able to ask the city to vacate Willis Street, assuming that the property owner um, uh, on this property, that's existing house, is willing to work with us. If she's, and I understand it's a she that owns that property. If she wants to kind of play ball, then she can get 10 feet off Willis and we can get the 10 feet, the additional 10 feet. Um, we'll also contact the city, see if they're willing to vacate in front of this property here that they own. And also, I think we discussed that before. We'd like to see if we can actually get this property to combine the two to our project. This would give us, an advantage of, putting some parking or the additional stormwater facilities that we need.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I know that this one is probably difficult to get because I think the city bought this for affordable housing. And if we're not doing affordable housing on our property, they might not want to transfer that property to us or sell it to us. But we will investigate that a little bit further. So for now, it's just like we're waiting on this draft agreement to see if we can get this. And once we are able to figure this out, then we can submit the PD plans for this property. And I think in the PD plan, what we're going to be asking for is a density of 30 units per acre, as opposed to the 16 that we have right now. And we might be able to get additional density if we do like a density bonus, maybe like add either retail or live work apartments in our development. We don't know that yet because we don't have a conceptual plan. So we will investigate that to see if we're able to get more. At this point, I really don't know if we can build 30 or 33 units per acre. And I'm basing this based on a project that we discussed before, which is this big apartment complex. I don't know if you can see my screen is still updating. Okay, it's this complex here,
Yes. Mm-hmm.
and this complex actually includes these parcels here along Parramore. They're able to get about 26 point or 28.6 units per acre on a four-story type buildings. Um, that, and they were allowed actually. They had the entitlements for 33.6 units per acre, but they were not able to build that. So I think we're going to have the same constraints on our side. We're not going to be able to meet or take advantage of the 30 units per acre. Um, we might be able to get the 28 or so but that can only happen if we do the underground storage, stormwater facilities, which is expensive. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's an option if we can get the additional density on the property. So we'll investigate that and see if it makes sense for us to get additional units versus the cost of the stormwater system that we're going to be putting underground.
Makes
Um,
sense.
we were talking about the importance of this property before, and I kind of mentioned that the advantages. I'll give you like the scope of things that we're going to be looking at in terms of what can this help us with. The most important thing is the access on from Hicks Avenue. The second thing is that if we can take advantage of the density, we might be able to utilize it for stormwater and parking, which
Mm-hmm.
could be very valuable as well. Um, And the third thing is that if we can determine that the additional cost for the stormwater is worth it, then we'll get additional density as well.
Mm-hmm.
I know the property is not that big, 0.14 acres, but we will be able to get about 20 plus units in terms of the whole project, which is
Mm-hmm.
not bad for a 0.6 acre property. Um, So that's kind of like why we want that property. As I said, we can't really do anything at this point until we get a draft agreement from the CSX or the city to make sure that that property can be transferred and we can start or initiate meeting with the city to kind of go over the project and
Mm-hmm.
start the application process, the vacation of the property, and the PD application as well. Unfortunately, the city is not willing to kind of um, start that process until they know that they can actually give us that property. So that's when we're going to start the official process. Now, I could start working on the conceptual plans, assuming that we can get that property and see how much yield we can get. So at least
Mm-hmm.
how many units we can build on this property. Um, and then, of course, after we get, we know what's going on with that draft agreement, then we can start meeting with the commissioners to introduce ourselves and let them know that we are planning to build like a high density or higher density multifamily product. I assume based on recent experience that the commissioners will be very excited for high density projects because they're pushing everybody to kind of do the multifamily high density because I guess they need the additional units for the city for the growth of the city.
Mhm.
Um, so that's when we're going to start the actual project. Now, according to CSX, the earliest that they can actually get this agreement to their board is going to be in December, which means that we can't officially submit until that agreement is officially in place. But definitely we can, there's a lot of things that we could do before, once we have that draft agreement, we can start at least putting the applications together, doing the additional surveying that we need for the additional property, because we would need that for the applications. We
Mhm.
can start the pre-application discussion,
Meetings. Mhm.
submit like a draft plan, get input from the city in terms of what they like, what they don't like. I'm gonna try to kind of just mimic that project I talked about that's north of us. Um, this way we can avoid having an architect at this point, um, just so we can get the solid answers that we're looking for from the city. And once we do that, and if they, I'm assuming they're going to come back and they're going to say, well, can you improve on this, improve on that? Then at that point, we'll hire an architect to generate a different or a whatever adjustments they would like us to do on the elevations and the building configuration.
Mhm.
Uh, so, I said at this point, and of course, that product that we're talking about, that was built a few years back. So that was before, I guess, the city was working on improving that area. So we might be able to kind of build a nicer product, hopefully, because the area is probably going to be, by the time we build this, the area is going to be probably a little bit better than it is right now.
That's
Uh,
cool.
yeah, so that's a very big possibility because the city is definitely pushing for a nicer area and redevelopment of some of the properties on that corridor. I think we talked about this before. There's a big project that was proposed many years ago. It's a really nice like mixed use project that's not that far away from north of us. If that project comes into place, that's going to change the whole area. And I think there have been some discussions about them reviving that project.
That's good.
I heard from the city that they submitted something, so we'll follow up with the city, find out where they are with that, because that could actually help us determine whether we want to go like really like high end or not.
Mhm.
Okay. Other than that, I think that's kind of like where we are. As I said, I will contact the city today to see if and when they're gonna get that draft agreement, so we can at least start planning our time in terms of when we're gonna, start approaching everybody and submitting and all that. So shy of that, I think we're gonna be on hold. Other than the fact I'm gonna be working on the concept plan, and I'll share that with you as soon as I come up with something. Uh,
Perfect.
do you have
I
any
think that
questions?
makes sense.
You need more information?
No, I think that was very clear. So it is an advantage to wait a little bit more just to have that extra, you know, extra space for access for maybe stormwater retention, parking, whatever the case
Yeah.
may be.
Okay, very good. And might need a favor from you, Mariana. You contacted the real estate about that property that we talked about.
Yes.
Once we start rolling, maybe you can contact them again and see what's the
Sure.
possibility of getting that. I'm showing, I don't know if you still see my screen. I'm showing the email that we got from CSX. I think both of you have it, right?
Yes, we do. Hmm.
So, we'll contact this lady again also to kind of get an update in terms of where they are as well.
Yes. If they have a draft, that would be a great starting point.
Exactly. So I'll keep you updated once I contact the city and CSX. I'll let you know where we are, where we stand,
And just
and
to make
we'll go from there.
sure I understood it correctly, even if they don't have a draft, we're still going to start working on the conceptual plan, right? To
Yeah,
have
just to kind of,
something.
yes, to have an understanding of where we because we don't want to, like it's probably a better idea to kind of have that information up front. So when we talk to the city, we know what to ask for.
Yeah.
You
Hmm.
know, if we
That will
can't
save
build
us
it,
time and yeah,
yeah, so we know what to negotiate at that point. If it's something we cannot do, we're not going to ask for the sky if we can't reach that far. So, okay,
true. Yes.
okay.
Okay. Good, good.
Wonderful.
Of course, if you have any questions, you have my all my information,
Yes.
Thank you
especially
so much for taking the time, and we'll
Yes.
talk soon.
Yes.
okay,
Thank you.
guys. Take
Okay.
care.
You too.
Thanks.
Bye.